The Battle of Gettysburg and Situational Awareness, Part 2. On the second day of battle, Meade had positioned the Union forces in a defensive formation resembling a fishhook, anchored on the north by Cemetery Hill and Culp's Hill and running south along Cemetery Ridge.
Lee's early morning reconnaissance of Union positions indicated that the Union line did not extend south to Little Round Top. Lee based his battle plans on this initial information. However, without Lee's cavalry scout to see past the immediate vicinity and provide periodic updates, Lee had no way of knowing that the Union forces were being reinforced and moving into the area of Little Round Top. 6 of the Union's 7 corps had arrived on the battlefield, and the 6th Corps was making a 36-mile forced march to reach it. Based on his faulty battlefield intelligence, Lee directed 2 divisions of Longstreet's corps, supported by 1 division of A.P. Hill's corps, to attack the Union left at Little Round Top.
While Longstreet was carrying out the main offensive, Ewell was ordered to conduct a demonstration against the Federal right. However, he was given discretion to mount a full-scale attack if given the opportunity.
At 4 o'clock on the second day, General Longstreet assembled his troops here along Warfield Ridge, where they could direct fire against the Union troops occupying Devil's Den straight ahead, the wheat field, and the peach orchard to the right. In the distance, you'll see Little Round Top and Big Round Top. Attacked at 4 o'clock on the Union left flank. However, about a half hour earlier, Major General Daniel Sickles moved his Union 3rd Corps against orders 1/2 mile to the west to take advantage of the high ground near the peach orchard, meeting Longstreet's forces head-on. This resulted in some of the fiercest fighting at the Battle of Little Round Top, Devil's Den, the wheat field, and the peach orchard.
Meade sent reinforcements to Sickles at the peach orchard, but Longstreet's forces broke through, causing Sickles' entire line to collapse. The Confederates pursued to the base of Little Round Top, but the Union reinforcements pushed them back.
A breathtaking view of Gettysburg from Little Round Top. Alone, in this wheat field alone, there were over 4,000 dead and wounded. On the Union right flank in the north, Ewell did not attack until evening. He failed to take Cemetery Hill, but gained a foothold near the base of Culp's Hill.
Meanwhile, General Stuart finally arrived at Gettysburg and reported to General Lee. Lee is said to have rebuked Stuart with the greeting, "Here you are at last," adding by some accounts, "General Stuart, where have you been? I have not heard a word from you for days, and you the eyes and ears of my army."
The second day's fighting had cost each army some 9,000 casualties. Lee's forces had again gained ground, but had failed to dislodge the Union from its strong position on the high ground. Longstreet again tried to convince Lee to give up the battle, but again Lee refused. Townspeople were overwhelmed with the scale of the losses. Almost every building was converted into a makeshift hospital for treating the casualties.
Fighting resumed on July 3rd, on what would be the last day of the battle. Confederate forces again attacked on the Union's right flank at Culp's Hill and in the south, and again they were pushed back. But the main event was about to take place on the Union left flank. 3 infantry divisions from Longstreet's 1st Corps and A.P. Hill's 3rd Corps, commanded by Major General George Pickett, Brigadier General Johnston Pettigrew, and Major General Isaac R. Trimble, were moved into position in the woods opposite Cemetery Ridge, preparing for a 12-man infantry charge from Seminary Ridge across a 3/4 mile open field to attack the Union center. Lee was hoping to break the Union center and split its forces in two.
Longstreet advised Lee against ordering an infantry charge across an open field fully exposed to fire the entire 1,200-yard distance. Longstreet told Lee, "General, I have been a soldier all my life. I have been with soldiers engaged in fights by couples, by squads, companies, regiments, divisions, and armies, and should know as well as anyone what soldiers can do. It is my opinion that no 15,000 men ever arrayed for battle can take that position." However, Lee believed they could still be victorious. The monument to General Longstreet, overlooking Seminary Ridge to Cemetery Ridge. They say his biggest regret throughout his life was that he couldn't talk General Lee out of Pickett's charge, what came to be known as Pickett's charge. The charge was preceded by massive artillery fire that lasted for 2 hours in an attempt to destroy Union artillery and soften Union defenses. However, in a cunning deceit, the Union artillery commander, Brigadier General Henry Hunt, first slowed his artillery fire and then ceased entirely, tricking the Confederate forces into believing that the Union had run out of ammunition. Because the Confederates were fooled into thinking the Union had run out of artillery, and also because they themselves were running low, the infantry attack was ordered to begin.
At about 2:30 in the afternoon, as the 12,000 men emerged from the woods behind Seminary Ridge, they formed a mile-wide spectacle of glory.
Eyewitnesses recall the momentary glory, each unit flying its colors, bugles blaring, and drums beating as they prepared to attack, momentarily suspending the awful reality soon to come.
When the Confederate soldiers stepped onto that deadly field, the Union forces opened fire. The thunderous fusillade continued as the determined Confederate forces advanced.
Of the resulting devastation, John Dooley, an officer in the 1st Virginia Regiment, said that during the charge, quote, "Instead of burning to avenge the insults of our country, families, altars, and firesides, the thought is most frequently, oh, if I could just come out of this charge safely, how thankful I would be." Once the last shot was fired, 5,600 Confederate soldiers would lay killed or wounded in that open field, memorialized forever as Pickett's charge, the high water mark of the Confederacy, its memory forever a monument to the bravery and futility of the Civil War. It would also be a cautionary tale to the lack of situational awareness and how it can lead to unexpected, tragic consequences. Had Stuart been in contact in the days leading to battle and during the battle, Lee would have known more about the enemy and the terrain, perhaps changing the very course of events. Cemetery Hill may not have been lost to the Union, terrain the Confederates were never able to take back. So many lives with so little to show for it may not have been lost on the second day at Little Round Top, the wheat field, Devil's Den, and the peach orchard. And Pickett's charge may not have come to symbolize the beginning of the end of the Confederacy.